What's up guys, LeopoldTheBrave here, and Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time is just under 3 weeks away. With the recent reveal of Tana, and then a few days later Akano and his powers, we likely have gotten all the information that we're going to get before the game releases. All we should have left after this is the launch trailer and then the final week or so. So I figured, why don't I compile everything we know so far and discuss my final thoughts as well as predictions for things that they're saving for when the game releases, and maybe go over a few worries, because I do have a couple. It's important to recognize the flaws of a product instead of just going in blindly praising it. If you point them out, then they can fix it for the next installment and make it even better. So with all of that said, I'm hyped, you're hyped, we're all hyped, let's begin. Starting off, I'm super excited for the story. I think it's really cool that it takes place after Crash Bandicoot Warped, so we can see just how Cortex and Entropy escaped the asteroid or planet they were banished to. Not only that, but the whole Quantum Mask plot has me super intrigued too. Are we gonna find out more lore about the masks? Where Aku Aku and Uka Uka came from? Where these masks rank in power? Do they know of Aku Aku and Uka Uka? Just a bunch of questions like that. This is also the first time we're going to have a big and important story in the Crash Bandicoot series. Now, the Titans games did have very full and fleshed out stories, but they were still very basic stop Dr. Neo Cortex plots. The stakes weren't very high and we didn't really learn any lore, but with Crash Bandicoot 4, it's apparently going to focus on the lore and even fill in some plot holes and extra details. Now, one of the worries I do have is the fate of the other games in the franchise when it comes to this game's story. I've had Crash insiders reassure me that they're not going to retcon anything. And people seem pretty confident that they're still keeping the other games canon, but even though we've seen other alternate universes, none have really been references to any other Crash games outside of the original trilogy. I mean heck, where's alternate universe Tana from? I haven't played that Crash game yet. Now we have had little teases and hints about Crash Bandicoot sprinkled throughout what we've seen of the game so far, but I'm still just a little worried. But retcons or not, I'm just happy to see that Crash is finally getting a big story for once, and I'm sure I'll be happy with it. Now before I move on to the next topic, I should bring up a small elephant in the room that has popped up recently. Debbie Derryberry, the voice of Coco Bandicoot, has confirmed herself that she is not returning to play Coco in Crash Bandicoot 4. When she confirmed a month or two ago that she had apparently just gotten Crash on the Run, the mobile game, mixed up with Crash 4, but she corrected herself recently. So the Coco we've been hearing in It's About Time so far is in fact not Debbie. I know it's really sad because we've been hearing Debbie voice Coco since the Wrath of Cortex all those years ago. But from what we've heard so far, I think Coco's new voice actress is still doing a fantastic job, so I want to make sure that you guys know to be very welcoming and kind to her, whoever she may be. Now, I don't know the reason they replaced Coco with this new actress or any other voice actors in the game that may have changed, but my personal guess is that maybe they had future plans for this take on Crash, like an animated series for example, and they needed the voice actors to be consistent throughout the entire thing, and Debbie perhaps was too busy to commit to that. Again, that is not confirmed though, that is just a personal guess, so don't go spreading that around as fact. Make sure you state that it's just a guess or theory. So Debbie, we love ya and we'll miss ya, and new Coco actress, we'll love you too. Both of you keep doing great. On the topic of gameplay, I can't really give a true opinion on it just yet because I haven't played it. I have to wait for the demo to drop in a few days. But from what I've seen, it looks just like Crash. And I did hear great things from those who were able to play the press demo. I like how all the different characters look and play, I like the Quantum Masks, their abilities, and how the levels are built around them. But I do have two minor worries when it comes to the gameplay. My first worry is that the Quantum Masks could take over Crash's core platforming, like they'll be overused or something. Now I'm sure we'll get plenty of pure original Crash platforming levels before we meet any of the Quantum Masks. But what about afterwards? Is every level after going to require the use of the Quantum Masks throughout the entire thing? Again, I love the Quantum Masks and their powers and gameplay, I just don't ever want to get tired of them. My second worry is just how linear the levels are themselves. The few levels we have seen in full have very narrow paths, very flat ground and terrain. A lot of it just feels very basic and level editor-ish, if that's a word. I haven't seen very many slopes, branching paths, uneven ground, stuff like that. But overall, these are two very minor and small worries and won't affect my overall enjoyment of the game. There's plenty of stuff beyond the masks that are going to hold my interest just fine. The extra playable characters, inverted mode, the flashback tape challenges, and all the different gems you can collect within the levels. And finally, let's talk about all the things that we haven't seen yet. Things that they're saving for when the game comes out, like boss battles. We got to see Dr. Engine for a bit in the first trailer, but nothing really beyond that. He seems to have a fun Guitar Hero parody boss. Now, it seems like they didn't have to use the Quantum Mask for that particular boss battle, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to see them implemented in some other fights in the future. I'm just excited to discover which bosses we're actually going to see. Some people have sworn they saw Pinstripe in the first trailer, but no matter how many times I go back and inspect every little frame and detail of it, I just can't see him. Either way, I'm sure some old fan favorites will surprise us. Now for multiplayer. For those who don't know, on the PlayStation Store it states that Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time can go from 2 to 4 players. I don't know if it's referring to a versus mode or couch co-op, I don't know how that would work with how narrow the levels are, but my theory is that it's going to be a Crash Bash side mode. Crash Bash is a remake that people have been demanding for a while ever since CTR got announced. I mean, it's the only Crash PS1 game left, but it was a very divisive game and it doesn't seem right for it to have a comeback. So making it a multiplayer side mode seems like the right way to go. It wouldn't even be the first platformer to do it this way. Sonic and the Secret Rings had its own party multiplayer mode on the side from its completely different adventure mode. But either way, that's how I feel multiplayer is going to be handled, especially since it's local and not online. But let me know what you guys think. What are you excited for Crash Bandicoot 4? What do you think of the game as a whole so far? And, I stumbled on my words. But see you next time. Comments, go tell me things. LeopoldTheBrave out.